Welcome to FEO on the Air, the voice of the festivals and events industry in Ontario. This week, it's Supplier Spotlight with your host, Jay Nyhouse.
Good morning, festivals and event industry. My name is Debbie Mann, and thank you for joining me this morning on the FEO on the Air podcast this week. And this week is Supplier Spotlight. So before I introduce our guest speaker, a quick reminder, jump in if you have any questions or type them into the chats and I will ask them on your behalf. As a reminder, next week is our share stories session of the FEO on the Air podcast. Be hosted by Marnie Lapierre, and she will be interviewing volunteers from our industry on how volunteers help us and what we do when volunteers, the benefits that they get out of being helping our festivals. All right, getting into what you're here for. Today is Supplier Spotlight, like I mentioned, and today Matt Sobhy's joining us from, is it the airport in Mexico?
No, not quite there yet.
Okay, but you're still in Mexico, right?
I'm still there. Just happened to be here for a friend's birthday, so
Uh,
got the luxury of taking it from here. But thanks for having me, Debbie. I'm always happy to
thanks.
chat with you.
Thank you so much for joining us. So Matt is from Prevail Activations. So Matt has 15 years experience in the entertainment industry, has a diverse set of skill sets that spans multiple markets and multiple entertainers and entertainment industries. Matt has also brought a great sense of fun to our conference and hosting our hospitality suites, engaging our delegates to new experiences and helping them understand how this would work within their festivals and events, not to mention all the fun that they had at the conference in February of this year and past years. So welcome, Matt. So glad to have you on board and for you to share your insights with us.
Yeah, again, happy to be here and
Great.
excited to chat with you.
Right. So why don't you start with telling us about who you are? And I gave you a quick
Sure.
overview, but
I think you did a great job. You gave me a little confidence boost there. Yeah, Matt Sobhy, like Debbie said, I've done a few things in the industry over the years, ranging from music to events. The main kind of thing I did for the last like 9 years, pre-COVID, that crazy year, remember that? We did a company called X Events, and that was everything under the sun and experience, and ranging from smaller kind of school parties to like glow parties all the way to like bigger installations, and we owned everything under the sun you could imagine. And then after COVID, we decided to thin down the company a little bit and offer just the products that kind of made the most sense for us and more dive into that like bigger installation company where we can custom build things, with really cool lighting and photo op kind of leaning and really just enhance an experience at a festival or enhance a street event or just even like a street art piece, right? Like really what we wanted to lean into was having something there for like a period of time, like a month, and be able to see a lot of traffic and engage with them with it, engage with the traffic. So yeah, that's the type of product we've kind of shifted to and angle their business towards. And then just a quick kind of like spotlight on the other things. We have a video side to our business where we do photo, video, audio recording, and have what we call Canada's first rock and roll B&B, which is an all-encompassing space for artists to visit and do they do photo video there. They can stay there. Like it's an accommodation piece. It sleeps about 16 people, and then there's a full-fledged studio. So keeping those two things going and doing your best at both is a lot of time in a day, but we enjoy being busy, so we do it.
I saw that space that you have. It's really beautiful.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so I'm looking at your bio here. Can you talk a little bit about what you did for Shambhala, Stampede, and Veld? I mean, those are some pretty big events that you were involved with.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are some of the three, most that had the most notoriety, like they're kind of most successful kind of on the scheme of what people deem it in the events world. They're all were kind of different activations at the time through X events, but yeah, I think so. We can kind of start with Shambhala. We did more of like on the ground decor piece. We kind of infused really cool large items. They were actually large inflatable characters, mushroom huts. It's a very like kind of hippie festival where people are kind of like living with the land, which is a really cool vibe. And there's kind of like that a magic there that's really interesting. And so we kind of just infuse some really cool decor pieces. And in that experience, we actually had to be like very hands-on and aware of if anything would go down or things like that. So that was a kind of a cool experience. And Shambhala was telling Deb on an off call that it's a really interesting magic that happens there in the sense that they have these experiential pieces that just keeps people coming back, and like they don't even really have a really large lineup that as opposed to someone like Veld or Shambhala, and they just really keep people coming back through that connection they make via the culture and experience of the festival. And so we just help to add on to that. The organizers were interesting in their own way that they even were very careful of what vendors they brought in because they didn't want to mess with that magic, that they even called it a magic that they had where it just drew guests. So we were lucky enough to make it through that, that wall with them and impress them. And we worked with them for a few years and hope to work with them again soon in the future. Vel, we did more of like game sections, which we don't do as much with the company anymore, but we just made sure people were entertained. So it was a very different experience than Shambhala in the sense we did decor. Then there we mainly had a moment of just trying to keep the guests entertained away from the music. So it's instead of like infusing the decor with the music, we actually were like, hey, leave the music and leave that area for a second and join this other area and move traffic away from the stages to just enjoy another moment of that grounds. And then what was cool about Stampede, you picked three really cool ones because they're all diverse. We actually filled the ceiling with inflatable jellyfish and what was the other character? Planets, I think. And they were all like they had a massive tent where they had a DJ, and so we did a glow paint station in the corner to kind of give, that was kind of the mix of the two other events where we're like not trying to bring people elsewhere. We're just trying to add a moment to where they are and but not, take them away from the music. So it was a glow paint station. It was LED pillars and spikes all the way around the venue, and then we actually hung inflatable jellyfish and planets. So that was a really cool one too.
Wow. So you're creating something within a space and trying to create a new experience for festivals and for the people that come to it. So does it have to be an indoor space or a tent, or can it be no?
We could do anything. We could like the more fun we have is when clients come to us and say, we have this event and we have this problem or this thing we need to get over this obstacle. And usually we can solve that with an experience. That's our goal typically. Obviously there's certain obstacles that we can't solve through experience, but a lot of the ones that they come to us, we can. So, here another example is like we worked with a festival up in more northern Ontario, and they're like, a big is a country festival, and they're like, hey, like just, you know, our issue is we really need to like get people away from the bar just for a split second because people drink heavy. So how can we get them excited about an area to get there to, drink one less beer, for the hour. So that was a cool challenge to try and solve, right? So yeah, if people have an indoor event and they're like, we really need to make this look on brand. We really need to service a sponsor, which is a big calling we get all the time. That was a call I had yesterday. It was like, how can we get a sponsor in this street festival, this food festival that's going to like love this space and, pay for some of the product and provide that experience. So really whatever the challenge is, the more crazier the challenge, the more fun it is for us because it's like we want to make sure that the client gets their ROI out of the experience we're giving, and no, we don't just put something down and then it kind of happens and then it is what it is. With like the goal for us is like we really want the festival to be enhanced and the event to be, more have more longevity for the future as for what we did in regards to what we did.
So, how creative are you allowed to get with these festivals?
That's a good question. Um, that's up to what the festival gives us, the power to do. So, like I said, with someone like Shambhala, like they have a magic and they're like, hey, you need to kind of we need to fit our brand. You need to fit our brand and get in line with our brand and what we want and what we do and how we load in and how we even sometimes the negotiation of like what the product's gonna like how we're talking through product and like what it's made out of. Some clients are very finicky these days with like an inflatable look because it's kind of been overdone. And then some are like, I need that because I need it to be quick and easy, and we only have two hour setup. So the creativity is really guided by the client. They say, here's the guidelines for us, and here's the lane you need to stay in, and then we do as much as we can in that lane to make it happen and make it be awesome.
So, what would you do for? I'm looking at some of the people that are on here, like City of Welland, Downtown Milton,
Hmm.
BIA, and like I'm looking at street festivals, or City of Welland has the Welland Canal. They do events along there.
Hmm.
City of Barrie up north, the Garlic Fest. There's the Grape and Wine Festival. Just what kind of things off the top of your head
Yeah.
would you like for street festival versus a wine festival versus a garlic festival?
Hmm. That's another good question. So like I would say that the key piece is that always considering remarketing because everyone wants longevity to their festival. Everyone wants longevity to, if you have a string of events, you want people to be in there hungry to be, in the community to see more of the events, to do more, to engage more. So longevity, I personally think comes from, those exciting experiences. And then within the experiences, what is the most important, in my opinion, is photo ops in these days. So it's like it's everyone wants the Instagram moment. Everyone wants to have a nice photo with, their friend or family or spouse, and they want to post it. And so I think it's really important to make that process easy and excite that process. So what I mean by that is, you can put a photo op and leave it. You can put a photo op and brand it. You can put a photo op and have an engagement piece to it, a contest piece to it. A lot of the street festivals and BIAs and things like that have the ability to give things away. Like there might be downtown bucks, or there might be a sponsored restaurant that's willing to give away a free slice or something like that. That sort of stuff goes like a really long way with people. And when you have them come to the photo op and see the branding and the messaging clearly and go, I want to take a photo already. Now I really want to take a photo because I want that free thing. And in order to get the free thing, I need to post it online. And then you have like, potentially tens of thousands of impressions and awareness about that event just because of that photo op. So I think, it's about keeping on brand. So like something for like Niagara Grape and Wine is going to be might be slightly different than, Garlic Fest, but it's about having that root core item that's going to make them want to do it and then repost it and then have that chain of remarketing where people see it and go, I really got to go to Garlic Fest tomorrow, or I really got to go, next year, or I know they have another event in 2 months and I really want to go to that now because they've seen how these fun photos.
So, do you brand it for them? Do you work with them with their artwork and with your photo booth?
Yep. So there's like, so for example, like our giant picture frame, what comes with it is like a plaque with an actual title on it. So whatever, you want. If you want it to be the event name or you want it to be a sponsor name, our synthetic ice rink, all the boards are brandable. So you put the vinyl on there. The swings have actually, we've done a sticker right around the corner of it. You can do an eighth of the pie or a quarter. And if you really want it big and like you're going to see it in every photo. So pretty much every product we have is brandable. And we ensure that like when that photo is taken, you're going to see where that is.
When you were talking about photo booths, so two things. I was at an event, two events recently, where they had a circular photo, like you stood on the
360, yep.
yeah, 360. So what does that do?
Yeah, actually, we just acquired one of those, so it's funny that you say that. It's perfectly on brand with this conversation. We so what happens with that is there's like a software that hold is in the iPad or the phone or the camera, and when it swings around you, it does like a slow motion. Like the software actually makes it slow motion for a split second, then speeds it up and then slow motion. So you get this actual like video as a take home, which is super cool because you know obviously with the accessibility of technology and social media and where that's going, videos almost become a little bit more powerful than photos. So taking a photo is cool on a photo op, but taking a video is even like more fun. So yeah, so it gives you that whole 360 kind of view of you and you can like, have props and do fun things like that. So it's a really great product. And yeah, we just actually acquired it. We're not a big photo booth company. So like a lot of, we work with actually a few different, like we're in a partnership with a photo booth company, and there's companies that really do photo booths and the technology and the printing and all of that really well. And so we're more of that installation photo op company. And so, we're expanding our repertoire to make sure that we can offer all of it, but with some partners now.
So it kind of reminds me of that 360 of at the Oscars and Grammys. This guy has this
Yep.
huge camera and takes I don't even know what they do, but like the star will turn and throw her jets
Yep.
up. And is that
That's called a glam bot.
it's called what?
A glam bot.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's got a big arm and it comes down and it like takes and it does still the same premise where it shoots it in a higher frame rate. So it allows you to pull it down and slow motion it. And then so when they're on the red carpet, it will like swing by and then it will like do a fast motion, then slow and then fast and then give you the video. And that's actually a company that we're working with now as well. It has the Glambot, has the 360, has all of it. So
Wow.
if you
And
need
are
it.
those brandable as well?
Yeah, so you can brand the background and then you can actually brand the video itself, which I think is way more powerful because you can't get away from a watermark on a video. You can somewhat try to ignore the logo in the background, but you can't ignore when the logo is imprinted on a watermark on the video, which it does.
Okay. All right. I'm looking for, oh, do we have any questions here? I have a question. Peter McCluskey.
Or hey, hi there. I
Hello,
was
how are
trying
you?
to, I'm good. I was trying to type I'm with the Toronto Garlic Festival.
Awesome.
So I saw at Distillery a uh, a setup where people had their photo taken and then it was immediately printed into what looked like a newspaper from 100 years ago. So it was a story with their photo in it.
Wow,
That was
very
really
cool.
cool. And then they gave me the idea, is there some sort of totally virtual thing you could do? Um, so imagine someone comes down to an event, say the Cardiff Festival, and we take their photo with a digital camera and we put it through some kind of filter, like we show them at an old Cardiff market from 100 years ago or whatever we want to choose, right?
Yeah.
And then we give that image back to them and then they share it in their social media.
Mm.
Is there anything like that?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's actually pretty easy to do. You can do it really well with a photo booth and a green screen. So we actually used to have the Mirror Me photo booth with the green screen in the background, and you could almost key in. It'd be especially cool if it was an old part of Toronto. If you guys are in Toronto and you're like, we key in behind them, like Yonge Street from the early 1900s or something, like you're saying. And then the other option is you can add the filters, no problem, almost live, where, we would like vet a few looks to it and then say, hey, this is the one. And then, yeah, it can print on the spot. Like that is all very possible for sure.
So it could print on the spot or not even do that, just
Oh,
ignore the
sorry, just the
printing,
digital. Just the
just make it
digital.
digital.
Yeah.
So they would go into like a green screen. They could take the picture themselves, you're saying?
Yeah, you'd need an operator, but yeah, they can take
Oh,
the picture
oh,
them. Yeah, it would be better
oh,
that the operator and the photographer take the photo so it works through the software that we have. And then
right.
you have the kind of two-sided option. You can go, do we want to control the background behind them as well? And that would be the green screen. Or if you just want to add the filter of it looking like ripped and sizzled, like it's from like kind of that older age, then that would just be like a filter the software adds and then
Oh,
provides
I
an image.
see.
Yeah,
Right. Like the crackler kind of looked in old photos. But
exactly.
more interesting would be, especially since, so we're looking at ways to work with Toronto Archives because part of the festival will be in front of Toronto Archives
Mm-hmm.
on the lawn. And so that would be a cool way in your idea to use old parts of Toronto is perfect because
Yeah,
Toronto Archives has lots of old stuff, right?
absolutely.
So then you're saying that there with the green screen we could choose from among us like a set of images already selected for this purpose.
Yeah. So that's
Right.
what we had for our old Mirror Me photo booth is you would walk up to it. It's got the camera, it's got the light, it's got everything in the green screen backdrop, and then they would step in and they would actually see the background live behind them, which is kind of nice. And then they take the photo, so that's done, and then I could add that little bit, and then they go into the software, like just the photo booth itself or a little kiosk on the side, and they enter their email, and then they get the photo delivered to them.
Right. Brilliant. Very cool. Okay. Thanks.
Thanks for your question. That's a great idea, actually. Like that's the type of stuff that, again, love a challenge, right? Like, hey, can we show, an old kind of picture of Toronto? Like that's fun. Like doing new stuff with the technology and product we have is exactly what, excites us.
Yeah. So be happy to chat with you later.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay.
No problem.
Thanks, Debbie.
You're welcome. So we talked a lot about photo type of activations. So is there anything new and upcoming that you see on the horizon for the festival industry?
Yeah, I think, getting the lighting down is something that people are like clients and, the kind of world of events is trying to um I guess hone in on. It's like, you go to a big like festival and the stage lighting is like magnificent, but there's kind of like a disconnect between, for at least what I see, between that world and the technology that exists under the staging world and AV world and the installation world. Like there's not like an accessible way to be like, hey, can I, just buy this product and this is going to be something I can like just build out of. You have to kind of do the digging in yourself and just kind of find product that's going to work and different lighting pieces that will work together and like be manufactured with the metal that's going to be your structure of. So it is really an art, right? Like when people create these really neat art pieces, like they really had to dig deep to find the materials and make the structure itself and make it all work. So yeah, so I think it'd be nice to see some of that be a little bit more accessible and be able to buy product that is just going to be able to like expand that creative horizon a bit more and just make it easier. So that's what we're trying to do, and that's one angle we're taking is like discovering what's out there product wise and being able to build different things like that are modular. We're all about like can we build a product and then someone asks us to do something different with that product and it becomes something completely different. So one thing in particular we're working on is like you might have seen like those LED tubes that are 360 and they
Yeah.
like have like they're used in music videos, they're used in sports a lot. We shot something with the London Knights and they had like all of the tubes behind them. So we're trying to like we're trying to test to see can we build the platforms that like exist and in events and become walkways and then also become little stations that like illuminate an area and then can we take that and put it on truss and build a tunnel out of it. Like, so that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to find products that are really modular and accessible, or not accessible, but like flexible to what they can be applied to, and use them in that strategic way.
So this may be way out there, but I'm looking at, who's here, and um I'm thinking, like, using, the Garlic Festival as an example. Um, you know, uh have something where there's lots of, like, image lighting that's garlic related, right? I don't
Mm.
know, like, I don't know. I just think about the Monet event. Now I know that's a lot of money that with but I wonder if there's a simpler or a cost-effective way to create that kind of show for event. Anyways, I'm just asking out loud.
No, that's so. Again, I'm happy you brought that up, because there's another side to our business that changed over the course of COVID. When we were pre-COVID X events, we were always against selling clients products, because it always felt like it would be a detriment to our business. But the problem with that model is, you're if you really want to service a client in the way that we're offering products, like, let's say maybe if you're an inflatable company or something, it doesn't make as much sense. And we had that side to our business. So there was, because we were in so many markets, we had to make that decision. But being in this angle we're in now, where we're saying, hey, you can have this product for a month or 2 months, sometimes the cost does work out that you should maybe just bite the bullet and spend the extra bucks to purchase that product, because you might even see that the costs are the same. If you want it for 3 or 4 months, I would say the rental and the purchase costs are probably the same at that point. And that's just, for the way we look at it now, is just a way better way to service your client. Instead of saying like, well, no, you're kind of pigeonholed to this, and yes, you're going to have reoccurring revenue for us. I think it's going to be more beneficial for us to say, you got the better deal here. And then next year you come back to us and say, I want to buy another product because like everyone loved it, and now we can like put these all over the city. So going along with that sentiment, if we got approached about something unique like that, like glowing garlics, we can do that. Because what we would do is we would say, okay, that's not a product. Unfortunately, we don't need glowing garlics a lot in our repertoire, so we wouldn't acquire that. But what we would offer is say, okay, we'll go source an idea for you, and let's build it custom, and you can own it. And if you think about, if you're going to run the Garlic Fest for another 2, 3, 10 years, then that product's going to be very worthwhile and very valuable cost-wise, and a great investment. So, we can look at things like, on a low level, as far as financial investment, building something inflatable, because I was personally the buyer at X events, and we bought a ton of product over the years. We had a 27,000 square foot warehouse full of product, spontaneous buys. And, whenever a client came and said, I want this, we would go, you know what, let's see if we can buy it. So we don't have that scope anymore. So now we offer that still, but through a purchasable product. So something like an inflatable is something that, we've vetted a really good supplier for. We work with them solely. We went through probably 5, 6 inflatable suppliers, and this one in particular is really great. And we know the questions to ask, because sometimes you order from China direct and you get surprises. It's just the nature of, either the communication or the difference of culture or whatever it is. But you get surprises, you get zippers in weird spots, you get blower holes non-existent. Like, it just kind of is the nature of the business. So now what we do is, nice, I answered the question. That's great. And so now what we do is we just make sure we say, hey, what do you want? Actually, here's an example, is we just did one for Best Buy. They wanted these inflatable tunnels, and we've already done that exact model. So we asked, what color, what size is the edges, what size is the inside, where's the blower hole going, where's the zippers going, well, let's make sure the blower is ESA approved for electrical standards in Canada and the US, because it was actually being set up in Vegas. We got it done. We sent it directly to their address they wanted in Vegas. It got there. She sent me photos and was like, "This is impeccable. Thank you so much." So, that's the type of stuff we can do on an inflatable side. And then going a little bit higher, if say there, something like LED furniture, which you might have all seen over the years, and especially at a FEO because we always bring them there. And that's something that you can get a custom mold made where they maybe are seats but look like garlic, or they're hanging little pieces that can come from truss, and they're again LED and plastic, and there's a mold made. So there's lots out there. It's just about finding it. It's about making sure that the supplier gives you a product that's going to be certified here and work, and also be going to work for your festival, have longevity. All those things are the questions we're going to ask, and we're going to find discovery when you want to purchase a product.
Okay. All right. So Peter, your question was answered?
I'll type my email in the chat there.
Well, maybe. And then Debbie, you said something about Monet, and that got me onto some other thought, but but never mind. Yeah, I can just see lots of potential with this, and yeah, I'll leave it at that. Yeah, thank you.
No
Thanks,
worries.
Peter. I don't have anything else. Does anybody else here have any questions or comments? Or I've put Matt's website and his contact information in the chat for you. Is there anything else? Matt, have I missed anything? Is there
No,
something that you'd
I
like
think
to add that we haven't added?
no, I could just kind of some closing remarks. Like I think just
Dave has
yeah.
a question
Oh,
first.
sure. Yeah, go for it.
Sorry, Matt. And
No, you're good.
I may have missed it because I've got some tree cutting going on in my neighborhood here, so it's kind of loud at times. But sometimes some of these installations can be expensive. We all know that, and I think you've touched on that. Is it the type of thing that a few festivals could go in on custom pieces that they could share and they could all use that to help lower the cost? Or
Hey, Dave, I think my internet decided to not do well during your whole talk there. Can you repeat that?
yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm just wondering, the costs can be prohibitive for some of our smaller festivals, and I'm just wondering, is it the type of thing if a few festivals wanted customized pieces, they could go together and share the pieces throughout the festivals?
Yeah, sorry. So I got the cost as an issue. Can they package?
Can they go together on some custom pieces?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Great question. So yeah, we do something. Actually, I'm really happy you mentioned that, because there's something that I feel doesn't happen as much in the BIA and city world that is a low-hanging fruit and opportunity that they do in the school market, or they used to a lot. I think post-COVID has been a bit of a disconnect for some schools, but pre-COVID, when we used to go to this conference called COCA, which is actually happening in a week, and we're going to go again this year. What's cool about them is they actually had a slot at the end of the conference. So it was like everyone saw everything there was. And then the actual student unions got together in a 30-minute or hour-long block booking seminars, not a seminar, but just a chat. And the leader of the Coca, I guess, supplier rep, and then the student union rep would listen in and say, hey, was there anything you guys saw that you really want? And they would say, oh, actually, like X events, we're definitely going to book a paint party, or we're definitely going to book a headphone party in for Frosh Week. And then another school would be like, oh, we were thinking of it. Oh, we were thinking of it too. Okay, so we have 3-4 schools on the table. So you guys know who you are. Go approach them as a collective, and you're going to get a better deal. So I wish that there was a bit more of that in the events festival world, because it would make things so much easier for us, and it would make everything more cost effective for everyone involved if a few festivals got together and said, hey, we want a synthetic ice rink with roller skating on our festival on August 12th. And then someone else was like, we want to actually, this BIA will take it actually for the month after that, in the same city or in a neighboring city. You're in St. Catharines, now you're in Welland, or you're in Welland, Niagara, or whatever. And if those town, cities, festivals all got together, they might save 50% or more on that product. And we do that a lot with Ottawa, but we do it like internally. So we'll get a call. We work with Byward Market a lot. We work with Bayshore Mall there. So we have this joke, like Byward will say as a joke, like, hey, let me know when Bayshore books, right? And Bayshore will say, well, let me know where Byward, and then Carleton University, same deal in Ottawa. So that discussion and that open communication would like really save a lot of cash for events, festivals, cities, BIAs, if there was just that little bit more communication. Maybe that would be something we could work on together with FEO and say, is there a way to kind of like do that? And maybe there's a little platform or something we can, do that and say, hey, there's this booking coming through. Is anyone in the area wanting something like that, right?
Great question. Thanks, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Peter, did you have something else? No.
No, I don't want to hog the conversation.
Well, if you have one other question, I'd go for it. Otherwise, we're going to stop.
Well, no, it was just when you mentioned the Monet thing, I thought, oh, that would be cool if like say for an art gallery or something, or
Yeah.
say Royal Ontario Museum to sort of reanimate their stuff or figure out ways to incorporate it into a promotion. So say someone could be in a Monet painting sitting at the table, right?
Yep. And with AI coming in, all of that's gonna get crazy.
Yes.
Yeah. So like, you can already make live things, live videos, live cartoons. Like and I've seen even our photo booth partner, like he showed me something the other day and I was like, wow, like how do you do that? And he's like, oh, it's actually not that hard. This one AI software does this and keys out your face and puts your face on this, or
Yes.
changes your clothes, and it's like, holy. So yeah, we're in the early stage of that. So I think keeping an eye on that sort of stuff is going to be pretty key, because what you ultimately want is, that wow factor. We used to call it the X factor with X events. Now we don't have as much of a clever name with Prevail Activations, but it's like that wow factor is super important to the guests, because the novelty feeling of like doing something, you know, really new and just exciting and like I've never seen that before. That's what we focus on. And like we have this like fun joke that when the synthetic ice rink goes out, and it's in the middle of summer, how many people, like even joke and like actually do a little jotting and be like, how many people are going to come up and touch the ice with their finger because they actually think it's real ice. They walk up and like, how is it real ice in the middle of July? This doesn't make any sense. So there's like a running funny joke that's like people it's so new to them and so interesting that they actually like, need to touch it. They walk up and they touch the rink and they go, oh, it's not ice. What's going on here, right? So that interest and that feeling is what we shoot for, and the things like AI and those technology pieces that are gonna just really wow people are things to definitely keep an eye on just in general, for sure.
And how
So
does sorry, Peter.
one interesting point about that is maybe we're going to go too much toward like immersive virtual worlds where like AI driven, but your point about people wanting to touch the ice, maybe because a lot of things are going toward virtual, that tactile things are going to be even more important.
I 100% agree with that sentiment. I saw someone say that the other day online, just a random Instagram post or something, where they said, people are so engulfed online with social media and the attention economy and like having to have a device in your hand, that it's actually making it more important and more of a novelty to be at an event. Like you used to go to events all the time and it was like, some people even, I feel like there's even a moment where there's like all these festivals popped up and then there was like a festival fatigue and it had to pull back a little bit. Now it's like, yes, we're post-COVID and yes, the budgets are low and there's a struggle there. Like take that out of the equation for a second and just, focus on the fact that people are just locked on a phone and locked on a device for like most of the day. And it's gonna make those, like you said, those tactile experiences, those like in person, those, wow, like I'm touching this new product, and even more powerful and even more novel for people. And then
Yeah.
if you can involve the technology piece where you bridge that device with it, then I think that's going to be the best, because then at least you're you're getting that, again, remarketing opportunity. You're getting a cool technological experience. You're pushing the bar on that. Yeah, I don't know. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, but don't lose sight of the importance of the smelly garlic.
You need the garlic. It's the most important spice. It's the only
Yeah.
one we bought when we were
Yes,
here. It was like,
man.
we need garlic.
Thanks very
Talking
much.
about that tactile is, I think we experienced that at our conference in the last couple of years, where the coming together of as an industry just was so powerful, and the energy was wonderful, and people left feeling, I mean, Dave, right? I mean, they've left feeling as if they're what, they're back, and you've met their old friends and they've met new friends, and there was just a lot of joy I felt that happened,
Well,
a lot of
but
learning
you
as well.
you
So
guys have built that magic too, though, in your own right. Like when we talked about that with Shambhala and how there's just this like magic and this culture and this feeling. Like I know exactly what I'm going to feel going to FEO, and I know the comforting environment you guys have created, and I know that people are going to be smiling, and they're not. It's not going to be like I've been to a million conferences. I'm sure you guys have too, and it's like, you don't know what you're going to get the first time, but like they're not all like that. You go to a certain conference and you're like, wow, people are very serious here, or they're very salesy, or they're very whatever, right? But because of what you guys have created and the nature of the people that come, there is that like that really comfortable, friendly environment and collaborative environment, which is like just so nice to see, right? That's the magic you guys have built.
and it's a hard thing
Thank
to
you, Matt.
explain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think you're 100% right. And I think unfortunately for some of our members, our conference is the only conference they've ever been to or get to, so they don't have that terms of reference. But it's people like you and your sentiments that really fuel us because I'm the same as you. I've been to a ton of conferences not knowing what to expect, and I feel having been a part of FEO, it is a different experience, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
special experience that we really cultivate. And the three of us and our board members and volunteers and committee members work hard to bring that experience to everybody. So very thankful that it's appreciated.
It pays off for sure, and keep doing it.
All right. Does anybody have any other questions? That's great. That's a great testimonial. Thank you, Matt, for
No
that.
worries.
Really appreciate it. All right. Anything else, Matt, that earlier you said some closing comments and I interrupted you. So
No, I think that last piece was great. Thanks for bringing that up, Dave, because I think yeah, that I think what would be nice is leaning into that if there is a way that we can work together, if we can take anything from the call, work together with your neighboring cities, your BIAs, your neighboring events, be collaborative and block book and work with, every vendor that way because again, having one issue with the events world and especially as a supplier is you don't have like retainers, right? Like if you're an agency, working in the marketing world, you say, hey, you're going to sign up and you're going to, pay me $5,000 a month, and now I can scale and get staff and get a place to work out of based on that cash. Like events is so like volatile in that way, and we all know it. It's like if you have a bad weather day and you get hit on that way, then your event it may struggle. If you, for us as a supplier, if the market goes down, heaven forbid a pandemic happens, we have zero business. So it is scary in that regard. But what can help on the financial side, especially with the budgets where they're at, is working together and saying, hey, that fire performer, I want that fire performer. Let's go in and say, you're going to get, 5 gigs or 10 gigs this summer. Like imagine coming in with that power and, that performer is going to go, yeah, let's knock that rate down because that's secured income for me. That's less sales and marketing money that I have to do. And it's the same with us, same with us as a supplier. It's probably the same with almost any supplier in the industry, I'd imagine. They're going to want that secured business. So I would just, yeah, if we can take that away from the call, that's a huge one. And yeah, the schools found a lot of success in that, and I think events and festivals can as well, and cities, festivals, events, cities, BIAs, like that whole market together, because they all want slightly different things. One will be like a single day event, or a 3-day or weekend, and then some maybe like, yeah, I want that installation. It's already here. The guys are coming to pick it up. instead of spending the money delivering it back to London, let's just keep it in the downtown core for an extra week. Zero extra cost for us, like zero. So, if that's part of the leverage that the communal, collective comes into, and they say, hey, we'll buy it for this event, but we want it for an extra week for this. Sure. Like, it doesn't change our cost.
Thank you.
No problem. Thanks
you.
for having me, Debbie.
Thanks,
Thanks for having me,
Matt.
Dave.
Sorry I had to come in from Mexico.
I enjoyed this. This was fun. It was great.
Thanks for listening to FEO on the Air, the voice of festivals and events in Ontario.